welcome everybody. This is your host, Learvok, and you're just in time for a new LEGO Bionicle MOC video. Haven't done one of these in a long time, and I think it's probably apt to start with my first Rahi ever. So yes, this is a reimagined Nui Jaga that I've designed, and I'm really proud of it. And in order for me to, first of all, this design would not be possible without the wonderful Skybird on YouTube who designed these claw pieces. And I think the best thing to do is just go ahead and start talking about that. So we'll go ahead and just pop one of these off. These were originally designed for a Toa Mystica / Fantoka Pohatu rebuild that he did. Because, like most other people who are saying, he wasn't happy with the way the claws of the original Pohatu Mystica, Pohatu Fantoka. Excuse me. There's a lot in the 2009 sets that kind of blend together. For those of you unaware of Bionicle, first off, what are you doing on this channel? Thank you for supporting this video. I have tons of other non-Bionicle, non-LEGO related videos, mostly Let's Plays. Go check those out. Or, better yet, go check out a Bionicle lore dump video. Those are going to be much more succinct. But the 2009 sets in particular, they split the heroes and the villains into two sets, for lack of a better term, two teams. There was the Fantoka, which took, air themed stuff, sky themed, and then Mystica, which is more swamp themed. It's kind of hard to kind of keep those two in mind, having to keep those two in mind constantly, because half the team was split up between the two forms, between the two waves, so to speak. Pohatu was part of the Fantoka sets, which meant he had to have ways to fly, and they gave him these chunky, like I said, claws. They were more like pincers that could sort of fly well. Skybird, like I said, Skybird, as with many other Bionicle fans, was not happy with the way that those ended up looking pretty god awful. So he took the original. Let me just pop this off real quick. The original arm piece here that came with Pohatu, and added a few actually fairly easy to find pieces to create this claw that with just a little bit of rubber bands functions like an actual claw and turns into propeller. It also has a dual function of kind of turning into a bit of a grabber sort of thing. Yeah. We'll get into more of what those will be used for the new Jaga in a bit. But yeah, I was so impressed with these, I wanted to design them. I wanted to make them myself, and I had intended on putting these making a shoulder mounted thing for Matoran, and have it be a shoulder mounted claw thing. And then I started thinking, well, what if I did something different? And so I made a Rahi. So yeah, it's all thanks to Skybird, this behemoth, at least for me anyway, a behemoth of a beast got built. So yeah, as I said, this is a Nui Jaga. For those unfamiliar with Bionicle, again, lore dump videos exist, though they probably wouldn't explain what the Nui Jaga is specifically. First off, Rahis, they're various wild animals in the Bionicle universe. Nui Jaga is basically just a giant scorpion. There's a lot of earlier beasts that have Nui, N-U-I, at the beginning of their names. Let's see, Nui Rama, Nui Jaga. I guess just the two. You don't realize something until you actually say it out loud. I'm sure there's another one. There's at least one other, I think, and I'm flaking on the name. I'm certain of it. Nui Rama. Yeah, those are like these giant insects. Like, one's a hornet, one's a... I'm not sure what you would call the other one. Like like a fly, I guess, with teeth. But then you have the Nui Jagas, here the giant scorpions, which were, like I said, giant scorpions. The original designs were kind of funky because because every original Bionicle had to have a play function of being able to knock the mask off of their face or off of them. They had to come with these little masks that you could knock off. Original Nui Jagas had them on their claws, and there's a little play feature where the tail would slam down, and you basically try to compete with one person having one Nui Jaga, one person having another, and you try to knock each other's masks off the claws. It was kind of a fun little gimmick, but you know, I like my scorpions to have actual claws, so you know, and most people do if you look at other MOCs for Nui Jagas. That said, I did use a different mask, partly because it was a real big pain for me to build the face, the head of this thing. It took literally 3 days before I came up with the current design you see before you for just the head. This is literally 3 days worth of work here for the head. As simple design as it is, I eventually had to cave and look at the Nui Jaga instruction manuals to see how they did it, and that sort of helped. Everything else took about, I'd say probably about the better part of half a day each of just kind of on and off work. With the exception of the claws, those, like I said, came from Skybird. If you want to know how long those took to make, you'll have to ask him. I don't think he explains how much time it took in the video. Basic construction for this guy is actually fairly simple. For the body, we have 3 of these Metru waist pieces snapped together in an alternating pattern, so 2 at the top, 1 at the bottom. And then in this case, this is a Paraka body on that. Yeah, a Paraka body that makes up the bulk of the body of the Nui Jaga. Other than that, the legs are just basically CCBS legs. They're pretty basic. Some Toa feet inverted. I originally thought about putting like spikes on the bottom, like taking like a claw piece and like putting it down here like that, but ultimately I figured I like the way the feet look as is. So yeah, I went with a standard Lego blue, partly because this is what I have, and partly because it looks better with the orange that I'm forced to work with, thanks to these pieces here only being made in orange and I believe light pearl gray. Light pearl gray / silver if you wanna get non-technical here. And then I went with a kind of metal, like the dark pearl gray for the tail, and the central body just kind of help. Because I was already working with these pieces here, these the Bone Lord armor pieces from Bionicle G2. I really like those pieces. I really like how they look. They kind of give them like a bit more armor around the leg, and I just kind of like how they look especially for like a scorpion. I've always liked for like some sort of type of armored arachnid sort of thing. It kind of felt like, right? The tail came just, it's a, again, CCBS standard dark pearl gray pieces, or gunmetal as some people call it, because technically that's what it is. I would have done a gunmetal piece here for the tip, but that's what I had, and in all honesty, it doesn't look too bad. Yeah. Let's see. As for the actual claws here, so like I said, these were designed by Skybird to be combination propeller and claw, and incorporating that into the design, the new Jaga can, of course, grab things with its claw. It can switch the claws here to help it latch onto things if it needs to climb things. Obviously, a new Jaga wouldn't be a great climber. It's too heavy to stick to anything, and, well, you know, not really mobile enough to climb. But the hooks, switching the claws to hook mode helps to grab onto ledges or trees, slam into whatever they might need to, some kind of soft stone, and help pull itself up. And then obviously it's too heavy to fly, but the propellers instead generate dust storm, sandstorm, snowstorm, whatever kind of windstorm it needs, whatever element it's in. So if it's in the desert, it will generate like a sandstorm with its propellers to blind foes. On the mountains, generate snowstorm. In a jungle area, probably leaves and whatever other stuff's on the ground. Probably less effective in the jungle, but, you know, still probably get a use for it. Yeah, capable of generating great heavy forced winds. Let's see. Anything else I'm forgetting here? Oh, yeah. So I looked up actual scorpions for a reference here, and apparently scorpions have, I think, 12 eyes? Usually in clumps of 4. I think that's what it said. Something like 12 eyes, usually in sets of 4. So like 4, like 3 here, 3 here, 3, and then like 3 on the side. It's got 3 behind its shoulders. And I heard that, I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. And tried to incorporate that with the Borak eyes here in the back, or in the shoulder blade here section here. And that's actually, real quick aside here, that's actually what kind of made making the head so difficult. I wanted to incorporate Borak eyes into the face, into the head somehow. Couldn't do that. Had to stick with regular Lego stud eyes for it. So yeah. One key thing between my Nui Jaga and other or the standard Nui Jagas, like I mentioned, don't have the mask on the claws here. Instead, the mask is actually in its mouth, as you may have noticed. The idea, almost from the beginning, I wanted the mask to be incorporated in the face upside down, specifically. The idea is that the mask is supposed to be like a skull, right? It's supposed to be the face of whoever wears it. So the Nui Jaga just kind of picked up a mask, put it on upside down. Doesn't know what a normal Matoran looks like right side up or anything, you know. They do, but they're wild animals. They're beasts. They don't really have a concept of what looks right to be a Matoran, and so they're wearing the masks upside down, or at least in this case, this one is. I was going to use the original, the Pakari Anua's mask, but I don't have any in blue or orange, so it doesn't work with the color matching here. And I couldn't get it to work with the current face design I had, and like I said, the face took about 3 solid days of work, of working on it, just to get it to the state it is now. But yeah, mouth is articulated, so you know, it's double articulated, so double jawbone here. You can indeed pop the mask off. So there you go. I wanted to keep that. I wanted to at least keep that functionality in. I think that's kind of fun whenever you can do that with the older masks. Now I think about it, I should probably change that for light gray, a little yellow, clear yellow translucent piece. I don't know. Still kind of, it looks kind of neat to me. Oops, bend the mouth back. I like the idea of the jaw holding the mask. This is kind of it adds on to a bit of the creepiness of the new Jaga. As for posability with the legs, it's a bit of a front heavy unit, so the two legs here do a lot of the lifting, and then these two kind of share, these back four kind of share the weight a bit. I've had to adjust it quite a bit to make sure like all the feet are on the ground properly, but it is fairly balanced. You can pose it in various different ways and be okay, at least from my experience. The big thing is it just comes down to the fact it's a flipping scorpion, so you know. Either I find a way to add weight in the back, which will end up making it look a little funkier, or I find ways to make it look good. And at the moment I don't have really either ability, so I went with good. I went with as good as I could, and honestly I'm pretty proud of this. Tail, obviously the homage to the original tail with the Robo Rider piece here, acting as like a way to kind of spit poison out. And then you have the added a little claw piece here. I'm trying to think double check here. Very professional. Oh, I do have. I should probably try to incorporate this blade in. I've seen some MOCs where they actually put it inside the Robo Rider joint, but that would require me to redesign this joint, and I really don't have it in me to redesign the tail entirely. So I'd probably just have to flip the tail. Just kind of be how it is. I don't know. Maybe a later iteration if I ever get around to it. But like I said, I've been super proud of this guy. He's been sitting on my desk for the past 2-3 weeks as I've been trying to find time to do these videos, to do a video here, and I've just kind of messed around with him. Not really tweaked him or anything, but like I'll like just, you know, spin the blade, chomp the claws, get into battles with other Matoran, with other of my characters, and you know, because I'm an adult. I'm an adult, and I still play with toys. I mean, what do you expect? I'm a millennial. It's what we do. We are tightly connected to our childhood, just like Gen X, Gen Y, Boomers, and probably the Gen Z is going to be. So, you know. Yeah, so we're all going to be tied to our nostalgia, and, you know, this is how we kind of get our enjoyment is from our youth. That kind of made me a little depressed there thinking about that. Kind of. But yeah, so the new Jaga for my first Rahi turned out excellent. And I don't know, I kind of want to do the new Ramas next. Maybe a Terrakava. Or I don't know, maybe just make something of my own for once. But yeah. But that has been this episode of Lego Bionicle MOCs. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.